In today's news video, we cover Race against time, Ukraine's desperate plea for modern tanks to take on Russian aggression. UK sends reinforcements to Ukraine's Navy. Westland WS-61 Sea King helicopters arrive to help in search and rescue missions. Airbus joins forces with UK's Missile Defence Centre to enhance ballistic defence capabilities. Enjoy watching and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on important news. A few kilometers from the Belarus border, Ukrainian forces are training for what they expect to be a brutal spring. Aging T-72 tanks, some twice the age of their crews, fire off rounds into the mist, while ground troops practice storming abandoned buildings. Some of the training takes place in the eerily quiet town of Pripyat, deserted since the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. As the troops are put through their paces, Lieutenant General Serhiy Naiv takes delivery of a dozen pickup trucks armed with heavy machine guns and anti-aircraft guns, a crowd-funded initiative to help Ukraine repel Iranian-made Shahed drones, which have caused so much damage to Ukraine's power infrastructure. But Naiv, a stocky and affable commander, believes the next phase of this war will be about tanks. And that means not his ancient T-72s, but more modern machines such as German Leopard 2s and British Challengers. Ukrainian officials say they need several hundred main battle tanks, not only to defend their present positions, but also to take the fight to the enemy in the coming months. Of course, we need a large number of Western tanks. They are much better than the Soviet models and can help us advance, Naiv said. We are creating new military units, and our next actions will depend on their combat readiness. Therefore, Western assistance is extremely important. Chief among their requests is the Leopard 2, which is relatively easy to maintain and operate, and in service with many NATO nations. Both the military and political leadership in Ukraine were hoping that the Ramstein meeting of Ukraine's partners on Friday would greenlight their delivery, but Germany held back. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov, speaking after the meeting, said he and German counterpart Boris Pistorius had a frank discussion on Leopard 2s, to be continued. Mikhailo Podolyak, an advisor to Ukraine's presidential administration, told CNN Friday, "We are disappointed. We understand that some countries have inhibitions. But the slower this goes, the more of our soldiers and civilians are killed. It would be significant if Germany took a leadership position here." He contends that 300 to 400 of these tanks, in fact, would outdo 2,000 to 3,000 Soviet-era tanks. It would sharply accelerate the tempo of the war and initiate the closing stages. In the meantime, Ukrainian officials say they are running out of spare parts for their existing Soviet-era tanks, even as they scour other former Soviet bloc states for supplies. The Ukrainians fear that a second Russian offensive may begin within 2 months. By the spring, 150,000 Russians drafted last autumn will have been trained and probably incorporated into battle-ready units. For the Ukrainians, it's a race against time. But they are essentially converting a military based on Soviet hardware to one using advanced Western weapons at warp speed. They won't be getting M1 Abrams main battle tanks, which are powerful but difficult to maintain. Colin Kahl, the Pentagon's top policy advisor, said of the M1 that it's expensive. It's hard to train on. It has a jet engine. Experts also believe the German tanks could make a real difference. Leopard 2 is a modern, well-protected main battle tank with good sensors, Jack Waddling, senior research fellow in land warfare at the Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, told CNN. It was originally designed to be maintained by conscripts and is therefore simpler to keep in the fight than some other NATO designs like the Challenger 2. There is also an existing production line to keep Leopard 2s supplied with spare parts. The Ukrainian military is seeking to acquire more weapons, including Stryker armored vehicles and Bradley infantry fighting vehicles from the US, howitzers from Finland, and the Advanced Archer artillery system and anti-tank guns from Sweden. The military needs to train units on the new equipment and integrate it into its existing formations. Ukrainian officials have stated that they want to take the offensive before Russia reinforces its lines, and that they need tanks to clear occupied land quickly, as well as longer-range missiles. They believe that the Russians are planning to bring in more troops and equipment, and are trying to reduce the vulnerability of their ammunition stocks and troops concentrations by moving them further away from the front lines. Despite this, Ukrainian troops will continue to fight, even if they are not provided with new weaponry, as they are paying the real price for freedom and dying due to Russian aggression. Ukraine's Navy has got Westland WS-61 Sea King helicopter donated earlier by Great Britain. That is according to the Defense Minister of Ukraine, Oleksiy Reznikov. The Sea King from the UK has arrived in its new kingdom near the Black Sea in Ukraine. It is a strong reinforcement for the Ukrainian Navy. Our cooperation will continue to increase, Ukrainian Defense Minister wrote on Twitter. Oleksiy Reznikov did not specify the number of helicopters that arrived in Ukraine this time. But he wrote about the Sea King in singular. Ukraine's defense minister thanked British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace. Thank you to B. Wallace MP. Together, we will secure the seas and lands across all of Europe. The three Westland WS-61 Sea King helicopters donated by the United Kingdom in November 2022 are the first Western-designed helicopters Ukraine has received since the start of the conflict with Russia. These helicopters were previously used by both the Royal Air Force and the Navy, with the latter being decommissioned by the Navy in 2018. The Sea King helicopters will be used by Ukrainian Navy for search and rescue (SAR) missions. Ukrainian crews passed training to fly and maintain the helicopters in the UK. In total, Great Britain trained 10 crews of Ukrainian pilots. As Defense Express reported, Ukrainian Navy prepared crews for additional anti-ship complexes and UAVs. We also wrote that the hull of future flagship of Ukraine's Navy was made of steel produced in heroic Mariupol. Airbus Defence and Space has entered into a partnership with the UK Ministry of Defence's Missile Defence Centre, MDC, which serves as the United Kingdom's Centre of Excellence for Missile Defence. The MDC, a joint venture between the government and industry, was established in 2003 with the aim of enhancing opportunities related to ballistic missile defense. Over time, the MDC's mandate has expanded to encompass not only traditional ballistic missiles, but also advanced missiles, including hypersonic threats. Marco Streichaz, head of UK military space future programs at Airbus Defence and Space, said, Airbus is the UK's leading space company, involved in multiple projects and studies, developing invaluable knowledge and insight into the missile defense domain. Airbus has been working closely with DSTL and Space Command on various intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance protect and defend projects that could significantly enhance the UK's capabilities in ballistic defense, making Airbus an invaluable space partner in the MOD's Missile Defense Centre partnership. The MDC was established in 2003 as a government-industry partnership to deliver science and technology research across all areas of ballistic missile defense.